in today's world, insanity abounds. You know, they do the most incredibly insane things and say, oh, this is logical. But it isn't. And others see it and they don't recognize it as for the insanity that it is. It's accepted as normal. It's the reasonable thing to do. It's the accepted way of things until a certain undefinable boundary is crossed. For example, the murder of unborn children is considered acceptable. The skinning alive of newborn children for pagan religious ceremonies is acceptable. And even desirable for certain ceremonies like Christmas. People will fight for their Christmas and their right to have newborn children skinned alive. And all this is considered sane, the normal, the sane way of doing things. Not to celebrate Christmas is considered insane. Not to celebrate Easter when God says to celebrate Passover is considered insane. Yeah, who are you going to listen to? The world or to our Maker?
The Lord Jesus, our Maker.
Yeah, we got to listen to our Maker. You know, the teaching of children moral values and boundaries and standards of conduct, teaching them cause and effect, respect for themselves, respect for others, and especially how to forgive. All of these are considered insane. And even the signs of you being a terrorist by the world, should you teach them to the children. That should not be. But because there's been so much rebellion against God, against the laws of love, that we have this condition. Both men and women dress to show a disregard for their own bodies. You see it out, and you wonder, why do they want to dress like that? I was over at the mall the other day, and there's 3 young men, and probably 17, 18 years old, and their pants were connected below their buttocks.
Yes, that's disgusting.
And you go, what kind of insanity is that? They're involved with.
Especially in the winter.
Yeah, it's just,
And they've started making the crotches even longer so that it's between their knees.
yeah, things are designed to stimulate attacks of lust and to provoke sexual attention and action against them. And then when somebody moves in that direction to what they're trying to tell them that they're ready for, sexual assault, sexual misconduct on their part. Well, what were you telling them by the way you were dressing? And they haven't caught on to this. It's insane. You know? Totally insane. Yet we see that they're drawing a response. And we hear this sexual harassment, sexual assault, rape, sexual interference, and, the sexual assault being freely used to label the person who responded to their invitation. What were these 3 guys with their pants below their buttocks? What were they suggesting that they were ready for? Yeah. It wasn't respect. Wasn't honor. What was it?
Insanity.
They were telling everybody they are insane.
It has to be really confusing for gay people.
Have you noticed how performers, they'll advertise certain perfumes and colognes, aftershaves, deodorants, body lotions that are so loaded with pheromones for attracting sexual interest from the same sex and from the opposite sex are out there. And then how upset they get because somebody gets overwhelmed by them. It should be a criminal offense for wearing them. If you're not advertising that you're available and you're trying to suggest something else, then you're being a fraud and you should be charged with fraud. I bet that would correct a few situations in a hurry. And they already know that these pheromones affect the brain in such a way that people lose control of themselves. They know that. That's why they put them into the perfumes and colognes. Even some of these so-called air fresheners have pheromones put in them so that people will fall in love with the air freshener. Is that not insane? All this is good for business, they say. Therefore, it is considered normal. As lust is also good for business. Okay. But doesn't it say to worship God and not mammon? Something's gone amiss. Yet teaching children to avoid these traps of lust is considered insanity by the world. You're not participating in what the world wants to do. How could that be? Have you noticed how people expect politicians to lie so that they can feel good about the messes they're in and the real state of their economy and their whole life, the real state their life is in? They want the politicians to lie. And yet those under 40 believe that politicians don't know how to lie. The vast majority of those under 40 do not believe politicians know how to lie. Why is that? You know? They begin to believe and defend that higher taxes for the rich will make everyone's life better. It's never proven that. Steal from the rich to give to the poor has produced more poor, less wealthy. Nobody wants to work when somebody else is getting the benefit. Building massive debts will bring prosperity, is what the politicians tell you. Well, have you considered that? Building massive debts. How many here have spent themselves rich?
It's an oxymoron.
Just consider, but they tell you, and everybody believes that's, oh yeah, that's good, that's good. Nobody stands up and says, hey, that's a pile of manure that hasn't been plowed under, you know. They believe building massive debts will cause peace in people's lives. The more you're in debt and under the pressure, do you find peace in your soul?
No.
No, it can't go there. It's insane to think that it could be there, but they believe it. How about that it'll bring joy to your life? The more you have debt, you can own all these things and have the joy of life now and pay for it later. It doesn't work. You know, it just doesn't work. And they believe these things against the evidence of all historical records. They keep repeating the same mistake over and over and over again. Well, where did that come from? That came because when Yashua was taking the Israelites out of Egypt, he had to have them go around the mountain for 40 years, round and round and round and round and round again, for this very reason. They wouldn't learn, so they all had to die off. Insanity was reigning. They wouldn't let Yeshua reign. They only wanted insanity that they had learned from Egypt to reign. The wrong kind of thinking. You know, they believe that overtaxing the wealthy has always caused people to work harder, because then they can support the good of the nation. But what does it do? Causes money to flee the nation when the taxes get too high. And they move into areas that favor lower taxes. And that's what's happening in Canada right now. They're taxing everybody and believing they're making them rich. Believing that they'll be more productive. The higher the taxes go, the more productive everybody will be. It doesn't work. It's insanity. And we've all connected in one way or another to this insanity that goes on. And it's no good. We can see through history that massive government debts has always caused poverty in a nation. Slavery. It has caused wars, hardship, depression, even encouraged the diseases to spread in the nation when poverty reigns because of higher taxes. Burning the productive out does not ever make you see the poor become rich. Insanity of this nature causes great increase in governments, the size of governments. It causes less productivity for the worker and greater scarcity of inventiveness it becomes non-existent. Growth becomes non-existent. Stability is non-existent. And look at all the regulations they have put in place in the last 18 years, well, less than 18 years because of 9/11. Has it made anybody more secure? No. But it's tripled the size of government. It's tripled the cost of doing business. It's increased your cost of living by 5 times. Do you feel rich that you can afford to pay all that and save nothing? No? That's part of insanity. But you're participating in it. Why? Because we don't really want the freedom that Jesus gives us. We look to the government as being more important than Yeshua. And you're supposed to be ambassadors for the government of God, not for the world and its insanity. Insanity causes people to worship luck. Bet you haven't noticed that they have lotteries and such around, do you? You have? You know, they play for extreme odds and neglect all the sound teachings and laws of God, trying to make it rich by a lottery. False hopes expanded on one of these lotteries is you have a 1 in 15 million chance of winning. That's insanity. You invest in losing? You sow seed into losing and you expect to get rich. That's insanity. False hopes cause one to live a lie. Live for that lie and stay seduced by it and try and seduce others into it. Because you don't want to be not having others supportive of your lie around you. So it's that form of insanity that, wow, why do you want to live in such a condition? It does not bring financial success when you live a lie. It does not bring peace or long-term joy. Yet over 80% of the people believe in luck is stronger than God. And they know they'll never have what they really need or want in life, but they believe and hope in luck. Isn't that wonderful? It's really pure insanity. And we were told to come out of the world. We weren't told to stay in it. You know? And then our Savior, Yeshua, or Jesus, as Moses Golem says, obey me and I will meet all your needs, all your wants, all your desires. I will bless you beyond measure as you learn to trust me and walk in faith. You notice none of that said go buy a lottery ticket. Go trust your local politician. Yet Christians and the world say no. They say no to that. They don't want to trust Jesus. And you gotta ask, like, why? They'll say, oh, that's too good to be true. We've got to trust in luck. It's more reasonable. But it isn't. They say we need pain and suffering and hardship and toil so that we can prove ourselves right with God. That's not what he said. We will earn our own righteousness by this suffering that we do here, by trusting in luck, having faith in politicians. We will prove ourselves more righteous than God by doing this. Isn't that insanity? We will earn our own righteousness. Earn it. And what did Jesus say? All your works are like filthy rags. Okay? Dirty, they count for nothing. Our own promotions count for nothing. You notice that no matter how much a person brags about himself, so does it mean anything. Our own prosperity, our own divinity. I had a person just recently tell me that it didn't matter what the Bible said. He had it right and God had it wrong because he had proven himself wiser than God. Well, I think he's in for a rude awakening there.
Very rude.
When you consider that that's what you're living for, that's insanity. It's not proper thinking in any form. However, in Passover, we can be washed clean of the dirt and insanity of the world. Because that's where you pick it up, you walk through it. That's why the feet need to get washed, because you walk through it. But we gotta be willing to leave the insanity and the dirt behind. Don't pick up the water after your feet are washed and drink it. That's not good. Okay? That means you too. And in the days of unleavened bread, we can turn over to Yashua all of it. You know, all the things where we are connecting with the world and bringing insanity, trying to bring the world's insanity into the congregation of God, into the body, by connecting with things that are just totally out of this world, insane. And turning it over, we can line up with his righteousness and his will, the will of our Father, so that he can bless us and prosper us in all that we do. He can protect us and take away any of the cares of this world that we've connected with when we turn them over. Wherever there's burdens, sorrows, or toiling, all that can be turned over. Because those things are all insanity that the world demands you keep. And you don't have to. We weren't called to keep ourselves insane with the world. We don't have to have that. Therefore, join in unity and joy in this Passover and release the insanity of the world. We bless you in the grace of forgiveness. In Yeshua's name, amen.
Amen.